Did you catch it? Parts of northern New England just witnessed a total solar eclipse. The rare astronomical event drew massive crowds across its path of totality, where millions of people traveled to witness the sight in its full glory. That includes our own Edgar B. Herwick III, host of GBH's Curiosity Desk and co-host of The Culture Show, who joins us now from Vermont. Hey, Edgar.
Hey, Craig. How are you?
I'm great. I want to hear how you are. First, I should note that we are taping this shortly after the full totality. Just what was it like? Tell me what it was like.
I mean, it was a festival scene here in St. Johnsbury. It still kind of is. I don't know if you can see behind me, but there are easily thousands of people still here in this small town, which is only a town of 6,000 people. They had their main street blocked off, and it really did feel like an all-day party. There were vendors up and down the sides of the road, food trucks, people from all walks of life, all ages. A lot of families, a lot of school groups, just thousands of people gathered here to witness, you know, as everybody has said, a once in a lifetime celestial event, which, by the way, is still going on here. If I safely look up at the sun, there is still a little bite of the moon is taking a little bite out of the tippy top of the sun right now. So there are some folks who have definitely hung around for the whole thing.
I love it. I love it. A lot of us here at the GBH studios went up to the roof and looked at it up there. But Boston, of course, not in the path of the totality. So it was very, very cool. But it was not what you experienced. Describe what it was like to see the full eclipse, the totality. What was that experience like?
Craig, I've talked to a lot of people who had, prior to this, been in a spot where they saw a full solar eclipse. And the thing that everybody said to me, to a person almost, is it's undescribable. Now, having experienced, I am going to be one of those people that says it's indescribable. Like, it's really hard to explain. I will say
it's totally unsatisfying.
Yeah, no, I mean, there are a few things about it. One, when you can take your glasses off and safely view it, which is one of the things that you can do, and you just see this black hole in the middle of the sun, it is a little scary. It is a little exhilarating. And surprisingly, and I know I had this reaction in talking with folks here, a lot of people did too, incredibly emotional. And it's hard to explain why, but there were a lot of people tearing up. There were a lot of people hugging their loved one and just like kind of crying together. It's oddly a really emotional experience. And I can't even explain why.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to ask you anyway, because like I've heard this described as like a spiritual experience, and even for people who aren't usually spiritual in nature, do you feel changed in some way?
I don't know if I feel changed. I will say one of the things that you heard a lot is people immediately being like, well, I'm going to be an eclipse chaser now. And that I get. It is a little bit like, you know, having tasted it for just a few minutes, as the sun started coming back, I felt to myself, I don't want this to end. I don't want the sun to come back yet. I want to sit in this strange, dark moment for a moment longer. And so that feeling of like, I want to experience this again, I'm having it too. I don't know if it's spiritual. I don't know if I'm changed. It's undeniably special. There is something about it that is clearly special. It is viscerally interesting, and you want to experience it again. I am already like, okay, looking at the map, maybe I'll go to Spain in a couple years. Maybe I get to Australia in a couple years. Like, it's something.
And I note that we will be able to do this in Boston, but not until 2079.
2079. So if I start taking my vitamins now, maybe I can hang in that long, but I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, I was talking to some of our younger colleagues today, and I was like, you guys actually might see this, but I'm not sure I'm going to join you for it, unfortunately. You've been talking to a lot of the people there about their experiences. Let's just hear from a few of them right now.
With the sun covered now?
Yes.
I can't wait, you know, for this last little sliver to go.
What do you think?
It's very cool. I didn't know what to expect, but it's very cool.
It's something that we'll never see again, and never did see before.
It's like a crescent moon now. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, crescent sun.
Crescent sun, right?
Cool. One small speck in the universe. That's what we are.
what have you been hearing from folks? What are they telling you about this experience? Any stories of families together to watch this, or what's it like for the people who have traveled to be here?
It's a lot of people saying, like, this was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I've never seen this before. I know I'm not going to be around to see it again, and we need to get there and do it. I mean, that is almost what everybody had to say. You know, a lot of families, a lot of parents who brought their kids and said, I wanted my kid to experience this. This is something special for them to experience. And a lot of school groups as well. Teachers who were able to work with parents to get entire classrooms up here saying, you know, this is the year that we're talking about things like the sun and the moon. And we thought we've got to get here. So, I mean, and we're talking about groups from as far away as Rhode Island even. I talked to a school group from Rhode Island who traveled all the way up here, and there were probably 20 of them. So, you know, people just really wanted to be here for something that they hadn't experienced. And I think we're just giddy with anticipation as it got close. And it certainly didn't disappoint. The crowd, when the moon finally covered the sun, there was just an eruption of applause. And it sustained for a few minutes. And then after totality ended and everybody had to kind of put their glasses back on, the church, which is right here in the square, rang their bell a couple of times. And it was just magical.
It does seem like this is a community that's embraced this role and has welcomed people. I know you've been talking to folks about some of the small business aspects of this, and a community deciding to really welcome the world to their. What are you hearing from those in the town about having all of these folks there?
Well, this is a town that has made a decision, and they've been working at this for decades, that they're going to work together as a town and reimagine themselves as a cultural hub. Now, this is, as I said, a small city, 6,000 people live here. But they punch above their weight in the cultural sphere. They have a science museum with a planetarium. They have an Athenaeum, this beautiful library with a gallery that had been built in the mid-1800s.
And remind us the name of the town that you're in right now.
This is St. Johnsbury, Vermont.
St. Johnsbury,
Vermont, yeah. And so they've been working together, and they've decided that they saw that they were in the path of totality, and they said, look, you know, we're an organization that's loading into bringing people into our town. We have things for them here. There's an arts organization here, Catamount Arts, that's been trying to put on bigger and bigger events. And they said, all right, there's people coming. Let's double down and let's invite them here. And so they got together. They worked together. They got a plan. They had a parking plan in place. And talking to everybody from the folks of these cultural institutions today, all the way to the police and the fire department, everybody feels like the work that they've been putting in paid off. Because a lot of people came. People are saying somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 people came to the town. That was the upper end of their estimation, and it's gone off without a hitch. So all that planning has paid off.
And I heard you say that there was some gridlock this morning, right? It was a tough situation getting into town.
Yeah, the folks in the town made it clear, especially the police. They said, now, we're in charge of the town. Once you get out into those highways, they're like, that's state police. That's something we can't really control. And it sounds like, yeah, there was quite a bit of traffic. But once you got into town here off the highways, it sounds like they had enough parking. They had shuttle buses that were bringing people into town. Now, who knows what it looks like outside of this town as people are trying to leave. But yeah, reports were that it was pretty gridlocked on the highways early this morning.
All right. Well, it sounds like traveling to see a total eclipse of the sun is something that you would recommend. And maybe this isn't your last time.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Highly recommend it. If you can get into the path of totality, I would say do it.
All right. At the very least, why don't we make a plan to meet up in 2079 and watch it together then?
If you could do the express. Sounds good.
All right. Edgar B. Herwick III, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Craig.